How did the U.S. strike Venezuelan cartels using military assets from the sea, land, and air? The American Navy uses specialized amphibious landing craft that act almost like miniature aircraft carriers, launching drones that can later be armed with Hellfire missiles. These missiles, guided by semi-active lasers or millimeter-wave radar, turn the drones into highly lethal weapons. This technology allows them to lock onto and track targets with extreme accuracy, even those moving at speeds of 100 miles per hour. Both the US and Venezuela employ very different naval strategies. More details all in the video ahead. How did the US naval and aerial surveillance track the suspected drug boat for several weeks as part of an intensified anti-narcotics campaign in the southern Caribbean? This surveillance effort combined multi-source intelligence with persistent drone monitoring to identify maritime activities linked to drug cartels. The vessel under observation was a 4-engine speedboat, a type specially designed for high-velocity trafficking operations. Such boats typically travel at speeds ranging from 40 to 60 knots, which is approximately 46 to 69 miles per hour. This is around 74 to 111 kilometers per hour when traversing open water. Once the boat crossed from Venezuelan territorial waters into international waters, U.S. authorities positively identified it as part of a cartel-operated smuggling mission, believed to be managed by the notorious Venezuelan criminal organization Tren de Aragua. Execution of the strike. Let us now examine how the strike was executed in detail. The Mk-9 Reaper drone responsible for the operation was most likely deployed from an amphibious naval task force operating in the southern Caribbean region. This task force included warships and Marines engaged in both exercises and active missions, from which Mk-9 drones routinely conduct surveillance and precision strike activities. These platforms provide the necessary launch and command capabilities for such unmanned aerial vehicles. The Mk-9 Reaper, an unmanned, remotely piloted aircraft, tracked the high-speed speedboat from above, continuously transmitting high-definition video and sensor data back to command centers and strike coordinators on the ground or aboard naval vessels. The Mk-9 has a maximum operational ceiling up to 50,000 feet and can loiter in the target area for up to 24 hours, affording it the endurance required to maintain precise real-time tracking of fast-moving maritime targets. After positive identification and receiving presidential authorization, the drone executed the strike by closing in on the boat. It launched a single AGM-114 Hellfire missile, a highly precise air-to-surface weapon capable of tracking and hitting fast and maneuvering targets with lethal accuracy. But how did this small missile could successfully track and hit the speedboat? Let's take a look at Hellfire missile tracking and guidance. The AGM-114 Hellfire missile is a precision weapon guided either by semi-active laser or millimeter-wave radar. This means it can accurately lock onto and follow targets, even ones moving quickly on water, like a speedboat. The Mk-9 Reaper drone uses advanced onboard sensors and targeting pods to continuously track the boat, sending real-time information to the missile after it has been launched. The drone's sophisticated systems can calculate the boat's speed, direction, and maneuvers, allowing the missile's guidance to predict where the boat will be and adjust its flight path to hit the target. Speed and maneuverability matching. Hellfire missiles travel at speeds greater than Mach 1, over 760 miles per hour, 1,225 kilometers per hour, which far outpaces the speed of the boat. This allows the missile to quickly close the distance and make fine adjustments during its flight to strike a moving target. The missile's guidance system is designed to compensate for evasive maneuvers by tracking the reflected laser or radar signals bouncing off the boat. It continuously adjusts for changes in direction and speed as it hones in on the target. During the final moments, the missile locks onto the boat's heat or laser signature, greatly increasing the likelihood of a precise, successful hit even though the boat is moving fast across the water. Combined drone and missile capability. The Mk-9 Reaper's ability to maintain constant visual and sensor tracking of the boat provides the missile with necessary mid-course updates to ensure highly precise targeting. This powerful combination of persistent drone surveillance, the missile's incredible speed, and active guidance makes striking fast-moving maritime targets, like the Venezuelan speedboat traveling nearly 70 miles per hour, possible and highly effective. Paired with the Mk-9 Reaper drone's continuous real-time tracking, enable the missile to accurately follow, anticipate, and destroy a fast-moving boat traveling at speeds up to 69 miles per hour. From inside the command center, this is how he fires the missiles. He uses a thumbstick to zoom in on a heat signature, locking onto the target. When he's ready, there's a trigger button just below the joystick. A simple squeeze launches the weapon, guiding it directly to its intended target. These enemy targets firing at the MQ-9 reappear, clearly lit up on the screen, as you can see here. Even for civilians, there are countless bad actors targeting our computers, which is why we need a defense mechanism, just like the MQ-9 multi-targeting radar system. Similarly, this VPN identifies and blocks suspicious email with a harmful download link. In this case, it will alert you immediately. Now take a look at my Netflix account. As you can see, I'm currently in Norway. To switch to a US server, all I have to do is click here, refresh, and boom, you're now accessing Netflix US. Beyond that, it includes a robust antivirus software to shield your devices from viruses, malware, and tracking by ads, bots, or third parties. Finally, with Surfshark VPN, a single subscription covers not just you, but also your friends or even your entire city if you wanted. Go to our link surfshark.com/AITelly. By buying through the promo link and using the code AITelly, you will get 4 extra months free, assured by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, picture that this human stretching their arms out, except this wingspan is a massive 66 feet wide. That's longer than a 2 full-size school bus. Standing next to them, you'd notice they're about 36 feet long from head to toe, about the same length as 2 SUVs parked bumper to bumper. But when they stand tall, they reach 12.5 feet high, taller than a basketball hoop. Now, that's one seriously impressive figure for a drone. Flying an MQ-9 Reaper drone isn't a one-person job. It requires the launch crew, ground data terminals, and the ground control station. On the ground in a forward airbase, the launch crew preps the drone for flight. Nearby the ground data terminals link the aircraft operators located thousands of miles away in another country. Then there's the ground control station, a dimly lit command center where pilots and sensor operators guide the Reaper through the sky. Let's take a look at how it is launched. Picture a sun-scorched airfield near a conflict zone. It is here the crew fuels the drone, runs diagnostics, and triple checks every sensor and circuit. When the Reaper's engines roar to life, it's not a pilot in a cockpit guiding it down the runway. It's these technicians working in the heat, helmets on, hands steady, sending the 10,000-pound drone into the sky. This is what happens preparing for takeoff. A series of automated hydraulic actuators and motors work together to fold the landing gear neatly into the aircraft's underbody. This process is designed to be smooth and reliable, ensuring that the gear is securely stowed away to reduce drag during high-speed flight. As the drone nears its destination and initiates its descent, sensors and control systems trigger the reverse process. The landing gear unfolds in a carefully coordinated sequence. The nose gear drops down first to establish proper alignment, followed by the main landing gear emerging from their compartments along the underside of the aircraft. This coordinated action ensures that when the MQ-9 touches down, all wheels are correctly positioned to provide a stable and safe landing, even in challenging conditions. How will the U.S. destroyers and strike group face the Venezuelan military and the cartels? We will take a look at different scenarios and strategies from both sides. The U.S. Navy's destroyers, submarines, amphibious ships, Marines, and P-8 Poseidon aircraft are positioned near Venezuela with a multifaceted strategy designed to confront both the Venezuelan military and the powerful drug cartels operating within the country. From the U.S. perspective, the operation combines overwhelming surveillance, targeted strikes, rapid amphibious assaults, and maritime interdiction to neutralize threats and apply pressure on the Maduro regime. The destroyers provide advanced air, sea, and missile defenses while maintaining the capability to launch precision cruise missile strikes against strategic government and military targets deep within Venezuela. By maintaining a vigilant missile defense posture, these ships are prepared to intercept any hostile air or missile threats. They also leverage anti-submarine warfare assets to secure the task group's maritime perimeter against underwater threats posed by Venezuelan naval forces. In surface combat, the destroyers defend against militia boats or Venezuelan naval vessels trying to disrupt blockades or amphibious operations. But how do you launch a land invasion from the seas? The answer is these amphibious assault ships are specialized warships designed to deploy and support ground forces during military operations, particularly in hostile or contested environments. They resemble small aircraft carriers but are primarily focused on launching and supporting helicopters, vertical or short takeoff and landing VTOL aircraft like the MV-22 Osprey and F-35B Lightning, and amphibious landing craft. The amphibious ships carry thousands of Marines trained for quick expeditionary raids and large-scale amphibious assaults. These Marines would execute precision strikes on cartel strongholds, government command centers, or key coastal infrastructure. Their urban combat training equips them to seize airports, communication hubs, and other critical points, potentially working in concert with opposition forces inside Venezuela. Here comes the nuclear-powered attack submarine operates covertly and silently along Venezuela's maritime approaches. It collects vital intelligence by intercepting communications and monitoring naval activity. It can deliver surprise, long-range missile strikes to disrupt regime command and control, jam air defenses, or destroy military facilities. Its presence also deters any third-party naval reinforcements from countries like Russia or Iran, complicating any attempt to bolster the Maduro regime. The P-8 Poseidon aircraft extend the task force's eyes and ears over a vast area. They conduct continuous intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance flights deep into Venezuelan airspace and waters, tracking air defense installations, military movements, and cartel smuggling operations. These aircraft work closely with surface and underwater naval assets to designate targets for missile strikes and monitor submarine activity. They are also capable of electronic warfare operations to disrupt Venezuelan communications and command networks, limiting the regime's operational responsiveness. But why is a single submarine a huge threat to an entire navy? But how would Venezuela's counter the U.S. command of the seas? Well, the military and cartels prepare to defend the regime and preserve their control through a mix of conventional and asymmetric tactics. The Venezuelan military, although smaller and technologically less advanced, relies on knowledge of local geography, layered air defense sites, and large-scale militia mobilization, reportedly numbering over 4.5 million, to counter amphibious assaults and defend key infrastructure. The military employs coastal and naval patrols to challenge U.S. naval operations and uses missile systems to threaten incoming aircraft and ships. The Venezuelan cartels, deeply intertwined with some military elements, use their familiarity with the terrain, fast boats, and smuggling networks to complicate maritime interdiction. Their tactics include evading surveillance through irregular routes, blending with civilian traffic, and leveraging the dense jungle terrain for cover against raids. Thus, the likely conflict scenario involves layered U.S. efforts to monitor and interdict cartel trafficking by leveraging aerial surveillance and naval interdiction, combined with submarine strikes and missile attacks against regime military infrastructure to degrade their response capability. While U.S. amphibious forces would act decisively to seize strategic points, suppress resistance, and isolate Maduro's loyalist elements, this is how Venezuela would mount a hybrid defense combining conventional military resistance, local militia networks for asymmetric warfare, and cartel tactics to sustain illicit operations and slow U.S. advances. This complex confrontation reflects both sides' strategic priorities. The U.S. pushes to dismantle narcotics networks and exert regime change pressure with overwhelming technological and tactical superiority, while Venezuela relies on numerical militia mobilization, intimate knowledge of the terrain, and asymmetric tactics to counterbalance its technological and firepower disadvantage. We also make original engineering content, so please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos.